The story takes place in the demon world, a land filled with demons and monsters, where a talented young boy is chosen to become the next demon king. However, his life becomes complicated when he unexpectedly falls into a romance with a shy human girl. The demon boy Meitaro is calmly having tea when his magic stick informs him about the king's resignation. He turns to the magic mirror for confirmation, which agrees after slight hesitation. While thinking proudly, he asks the mirror for advice, assuming it is finally time for him to take the throne. But the demon royal servant mirror quickly corrects him. Stepping down means a temporary leave of absence. Seeing him with a pile of books, the mirror questions him in confusion. He says he wants to master magic basics before becoming the Demon King's heir, and the mirror teases his seriousness. Holding his magic stick, he tests a few spells and believes he is the rightful successor to the demon world's throne, feeling confident in his natural talent and noble demon status. By practicing consistently, he proudly smiles, recalling those who once mocked him. He raises his magic stick and continues training, determined to gain full control so he can become stronger and worthy of admiration. Using his magic, he summons a cat, which instantly freezes, then he heals it with magic. After that, he happily continues experimenting with white and black spells, gradually seeing himself as a success. Now, curious and determined, he searches for new magic. Suddenly, he hears a noise from the teleportation spot. The mirror informs him that using teleportation magic has accidentally summoned someone else. He opens the teleportation machine and is shocked to see a frightened, dirty human girl. He staggers as even the magic mirror shows concern about the girl's arrival. The mirror advises him to send the child back, otherwise he will be severely scolded by the king for this serious mistake. Meitaro uses his magic to conjure sweets for the girl and reassures her she won't be harmed. The mirror warns that demons consume human souls, but he snaps at it to stop, fearing it will scare her. The mirror, puzzled, questions his unusual kindness toward a human. They both pause when the girl quietly begins eating. Meitaro stares in surprise, realizing she isn't terrified, just silently hungry. After a moment of thought, he decides to use her as a test subject. The mirror is shocked and immediately stops him, calling it unethical. Meitaro counters that such ethics don't matter in the demon world, where demons are said to consume human souls. The mirror tries to clarify, explaining that in exchange, souls are taken only to fulfill human wishes. He looks at her with interest, thinking she is the perfect subject amid the chaos, and decides to fulfill her wishes in return. Her frightened expression oddly fascinates him. The mirror flinches and shouts that Meitaro has never summoned before and has no proper contract with a human. Meitaro snaps back proudly, saying no human is capable of summoning a demon of his level anyway, and insists this is only a practice experiment, not a contract. While they argue, the cat peacefully sleeps nearby. They decide to keep it secret, fearing exposure might get them scolded by the Demon King. Meitaro resumes practicing summoning and healing magic on the girl, gradually cleaning her appearance and healing her, even providing good food as part of his experiments. After a few days, the girl becomes comfortable sitting beside him, and he shows her illustrated books. The mirror, confused, asks how long he plans to keep taking care of her. He hesitates, unsure, while the girl simply asks for small wishes like warm baths or eating with him, requests he fulfills on his own terms, which the mirror also agrees with, though still suspicious of his intentions. The mirror warns him to handle everything carefully in case it ends badly, as it always does. Days pass, and even after a year, she grows fully attached to him without fear, living peacefully in the demon world under the dark sky. She even picks flowers and decorates the magic mirror. Thinking over everything, he first considers handing her over to the Demon King, but the idea of the king's loud reaction annoys him, so he quickly abandons it. Excited instead, he decides to form his very first contract with her, smiling confidently at his perfect plan. His thoughts break when the girl returns, calling him while wearing a flower crown. He notices how much healthier she looks compared to when she first arrived. With a soft, blushed expression and a gentle smile, she seems more mature now. Seeing the flower crown in her hands, he smiles back and takes her hand, deciding to stay with her a little longer. That choice repeats over time, and he ends up spending more and more time with her. But one day, seeing her injured again makes him uneasy. A mirror reports that demons keep bullying her, and she often falls ill due to the harsh demon world environment. He grows uneasy when the mirror reveals the truth, that despite all his efforts, the demon world remains too dangerous for her. Soon after, demons attack again, and she ends up injured, lying on the bed. Meitaro watches her wounded body through the glass window, then softens his appearance and enters the room. Seeing her wounds leaves him troubled. He moves to heal her, but the mirror warns that some injuries may leave lasting scars. Reluctantly, he decides she must be sent back. The mirror is confused by his change of heart, Gloomily, Meitaro admits he feels guilty for treating her as an experiment. To make up for it, he plans to use advanced magic to improve her condition and the world around her before sending her away, hoping her time here, despite everything, was still meaningful. Just as he prepares to return her, he grips his magic cap and confesses her love as a farewell gift. And as time passes, the day of taking the throne finally arrives. In the Demon King's castle, Meitaro is called forward. He becomes confused when the Demon King declares that although he is the strongest demon, he lacks understanding and is not suitable for the throne. He reacts in anger, loudly insisting on his magical expertise and noble bloodline, but he is shocked when the king explains that in war they must understand human hearts, and therefore orders him to learn about humane soul first before he can claim the throne. Both Meitaro and the magic mirror show confused expressions at this strange logic. The king explains that since demons consume human hearts, they must understand what lies inside them. He then orders Meitaro to go to the human world and learn more about love. He protests angrily as the king speaks about the heart, but the king explains that love is a complex part of it, and someone who has taken love for granted must learn its true meaning. Meitaro keeps arguing, but the magic mirror suddenly pulls him inside. Trapped within the mirror, he watches as the king raises his hand, gently touches his hair, and wishes him good luck before sending him away. Meitaro helplessly calls for help. After shouting in frustration and pain, he finally collapses inside, his magic stick and hat falling beside him. Now observing his surroundings, he holds his head in confusion, unsure whether he is in a dark, closed human realm. He hears a faint rustling sound, making him alert, as if someone is hiding under the blanket in the next room. Remembering his lessons about the human world, he thinks they might call the police, and he could be arrested and exposed during investigation. Overwhelmed with fear, he panics and decides to hide, ready to run while using magic if needed. He also realizes his magic hat is sealed inside the mirror box, which makes him even more anxious. But he is shocked when a girl suddenly hugs him from behind, calling his name. He quickly turns, showing his vampire teeth as if to attack, but freezes after noticing the scars on her face. She resembles the same girl who stayed with him in the demon realm, and he realizes she is Bibi. He is stunned. As he calls her name, Bibi also reacts in surprise, realizing he still recognizes her. Seeing her leaves him frozen in place, and his magic hat slips from his hands, falling to the ground. Bibi's words deepen his shock as she cheerfully mentions that 15 years have passed, showing how much she has grown. He is left speechless upon realizing she already knows he was meant to learn about love, and is further stunned when she reveals that the Demon King told her everything. She politely, though slightly frustrated, adds that since he once used her as a test subject and she has no objections, he might as well continue using her in the same way. He immediately raises his hands in anger, firmly refusing. He says that even if she has grown up, to him she is still the small child he once treated like a niece, and he would never use her again for learning love or anything similar, as it is ethically wrong. Bibi smiles and says that demons don't usually care about morals, but Meitaro still refuses and angrily decides to return to the demon world, protesting the Demon King. As he turns to leave, she calmly calls after him, teasing that he can't even teach love, feelings, and romance, things even the Demon King could learn. As expected, he turns back proudly, claiming he will learn them too. Though he is sweating and flustered, he confidently insists that even if these things are strange, he is still determined to master them better than the king. Realizing it is the king's order, he understands he cannot refuse, though he remains confused about how a girl is the one teaching him all this. He becomes flustered when Bibi suddenly hugs him from behind, saying she is returning all the kindness and favors he once gave her. Still confused, he freezes as she holds him closer, turning his face slightly and saying how he made her days so joyful. He grows even more uneasy when he hears a soft, pleasant sound from her chest, realizing it is her heartbeat. Then she lets go of him and gently rubs his face, saying that although they only spent 1 year together, it meant everything to her. He listens breathlessly as she speaks about the painful days she faced after being suddenly left alone in this world. Meanwhile, the Demon King reflects on the girl who somehow managed to summon him. Comparing her to a failed chrysalis, he finds her strange and imperfect, yet impossible to ignore. Back in the human realm, she holds his face and moves closer. His eyes widen in shock, realizing she seems completely different from the cute little Bibi he once knew, almost as if she had fallen into bad company after returning. He quickly grabs his magic stick to return to the demon world, but freezes in shock upon realizing that when the Demon King touched his hair during the farewell, he had actually sealed his magic powers. Realizing this, Bibi smiles and picks up his fallen hat, placing it back on his head. She explains that now his situation is similar to hers, without a home and unfamiliar with the surroundings, and promises to help him this time. Happily reaching out her hand, she asks him to let her take responsibility for his life. Hearing this, Meitaro loudly insists that nothing has changed. Even after all these years, he still sees her the same way he did when she was a child. He argues that this is all just another plan to use her again as practice for becoming the Demon King, just like before. Hearing this, she simply smiles, already aware of his thoughts. Meitaro grows confused as her rapidly beating heart makes him remember their past together, leaving his mind completely overwhelmed. She grabs his magic staff and suddenly moves close to him, jokingly calling it healing magic, which completely flusters Meitaro. Meitaro remembers the distant past, when he smiled at her frightened face and fed her cookies. Now, realizing that the kindness he once gave little Bibi is being returned by the grown-up Bibi terrifies him, leaving him frozen in panic. Bibi simply smiles at his frightened expression, just as he once did to her, and calls it cute. He jolts in shock, and even when she falls asleep while hugging him, he convinces himself it must be a hallucination. But when she pulls him closer again, he finally realizes the situation is real. He angrily protests that although sleep may be the best form of healing, there is no reason for her to sleep beside him. Bibi cutely insists it is necessary, reminding him that he used to sleep beside her too. Meitaro immediately snaps back that she was only a child back then. She simply smiles, pointing out that he still treats her like one. Later, while preparing breakfast, Meitaro quietly tries to organize his chaotic thoughts. Earlier, he doubted whether she truly had healing magic, but remembering her calling their sleeping together healing magic only makes him more flustered, realizing how bold she has become as an adult. He jolts from his thoughts when she approaches from behind and whispers in his ear, asking what he is doing. He quickly replies that he is making breakfast, seriously claiming it is repayment for her giving him a room and taking care of him. Bibi admires his pride, but becomes confused after seeing the completely burnt, pitch-black meal and asks whether it is supposed to be bread or rice. Meitaro nervously squeezes his arm and quietly admits that without magic, he is completely helpless, since the Demon King drained his powers. He gloomily admits it is his first time making breakfast, which shocks her. As she stares at the plate and takes her first bite, he quickly panics and warns her not to eat it. Bibi praises the fried rice, but Meitaro irritably reveals it is actually cornflakes and hurriedly tells her to spit it out while patting her back. When he immediately throws the ruined meal into the trash, she looks disappointed seeing his first homemade food go to waste. He apologizes for wasting the ingredients, but she brushes it off and offers him some leftovers instead. The moment his stomach growls from hunger, he instantly looks away, trying to hide his embarrassment. Hearing this, Bibi shows him a heart-shaped cookie and tells him to open his mouth. As they sit at the dining table, she reminds him that he came here to learn about the heart. Meitaro immediately denies it proudly, insisting he was meant to learn about the human soul instead. Bibi calmly explains that they are basically the same thing, then teasingly mocks his stubbornness, despite being an adult. She then feeds him the cookie, while he awkwardly eats it, feeling strangely like a baby bird being fed by its mother. Then she affectionately asks him if it tastes good. As she gently wipes the cookie crumbs from his mouth, Meitaro becomes visibly flustered. She continues to look at him while standing close. Feeling overwhelmed by being fed like this, he suddenly stands up in panic and covers her eyes, telling her to stop staring at him. He becomes confused by her sudden behavior, feeling a sense of danger around him, so he quickly urges her to eat the remaining cookies by herself. But her polite reply that it is meant to be eaten together leaves him completely confused about this tradition. He then remembers how, long ago, he had also fed her. She comes closer and gently touches his face, asking if he slept well yesterday. He recalls the whole night scene, which was supposed to be healing but instead left him exhausted. He then concludes that she is treating him the same way he once treated her and finally understands what she meant by turning the tables. As a demon, still confused by all this, he refuses to accept such a situation and asks if she still has the cookie ingredients, thinking to show his true power as a demon without magic. She is truly shocked to see him determinedly making cookies, creating a mess, and then proudly showing her the result. She picks one, admiring his real skills, but after taking a bite, she struggles to swallow, holding her throat. As he feeds her again with pride, she chokes slightly while he doesn't notice, confidently trusting his perfect performance. He then feeds her again and also takes one for himself, overly confident that his skills have improved. But after just one bite, he immediately spits it out with a strange expression, realizing it is completely burnt and disgusting inside. He is confused, seeing her eating so calmly, but she politely smiles, holds her throat, and says it is sweet, shocking him as he thinks her taste buds might have changed with age. After a few days, Meitaro is calmly watching a 3-hour cooking show, where the host happily announces making 100 rolled omelets in 3 hours, leaving him shocked at how long it takes for just one dish. Afterward, a weather report informs about upcoming rain. He looks at the umbrella rack and suddenly realizes Bibi forgot to take one when she mentioned going shopping after school. He also recalls how easily she used to fall sick as a child, so he decides to bring an umbrella for her despite not knowing her university. In the university, a girl approaches Bibi and politely asks if she is free, inviting her to have lunch together, which Bibi calmly accepts. As she leaves, her classmates stare and discuss her charm, calling her Nagisa Koga. Students admire her beauty along with her intelligence, as she is ranked among the top students in the institute. A girl with short black hair mentions that she refuses to participate in the campus beauty contest, while another girl with long white hair suggests she should care less about admiration. Still, she continues to admire her cool personality, while someone else adds that she is rather antisocial. A girl is impressed by her composed expression and wonders if she ever smiles at all. Meanwhile, other girls talk about wanting photos or even paintings with her, while joking that she might smile for her boyfriend, though they are unsure whether she even has one. Some agree she does, others deny it. At the lunch table, a few girls discuss her again, questioning whether she has a boyfriend, especially after hearing she once took down a convenience store robber. They are shocked by her ability to physically fight the attacker, concluding that she doesn't rely on anyone and has developed all her skills independently. Some girls whisper doubts that she may have been targeted by creeps in her childhood, leading her to become so self-protective. Now, as she holds her lunch tray and looks at the menu board, more girls comment that Bibi has no interest in a boyfriend since she rejects every confession. After discussing her, they all simply wish to be her friend instead. The shop owner, an old man, notices her and asks in surprise if she wants more food, saying she should eat well as a student. The shop lady interrupts, happily saying she is glad Bibi is eating more today, as she usually eats alone, and worries them by not eating properly. Hearing this, she hesitates at first, but then agrees. The old lady adds extra portions, especially sweets, and Bibi thanks her politely. Suddenly, it starts raining as she leaves the shop. Looking at the sky, her attention shifts when she sees a child happily meeting her parents, the father kneeling and promising fried chicken for today. Feeling a bit lonely, she opens her bag to take out her umbrella and prepares to head home, but is shocked to see Mitaro standing there confused, holding the umbrella. He scolds her for forgetting it, saying that with her weak immune system, walking in the rain would make her sick, and points at her slightly red face, worriedly asking if she is already ill. She denies it, explaining that her face is red because she thought he came to pick her up. Then, nervously rubbing her collar, she asks if he really managed to find her university. He explains how, after asking the police for directions, he still got searched and noticed people staring and whispering about him, making him feel completely helpless without magic. He quietly complains that this is why human life feels so short and fragile. But seeing her blushing smile, he becomes confused as she explains the reason for her happiness, that despite having school friends and everyone around her, she realizes that only he truly matters to her. Not understanding her point, he pinches her cheeks and proudly teases that she will get wrinkles if she keeps making such expressions. She moves closer to him and denies it. When he suggests going home, she agrees with a blushing face and reaches her hand toward him, asking if he only brought one umbrella. He does not understand at first, but then suddenly realizes his mistake and scolds himself for his own stupidity. Worried, he tells her to use the umbrella, while he proudly insists that demons do not catch colds. Meanwhile, watching them, Magic Mirror grows suspicious. After a few days, Bibi becomes confused, seeing Meitaro completely wrapped inside a thick, black blanket. She wonders if he can really sleep like that, and asks him to sleep properly on the bed instead. However, he immediately refuses, blaming her for sleeping too close to him and making him so uncomfortable that he could barely rest at night, except for the first night, when he had been completely exhausted. He insists that staying inside the blanket feels much more comfortable. As Bibi places a coffee mug on the table, she walks closer, opens part of the blanket, and softly comments that even he looks helpless, trapped inside something so tight. Noticing her mysterious expression, Meitaro grows uneasy and quickly tells her to stop. Meanwhile, the magic mirror watches everything while remembering how Meitaro once offered her an umbrella. Compared to his proud younger self, he now seems completely tamed after arriving in the human world. While Bibi keeps trying to pull away the blanket and Meitaro resists, the magic mirror finally interrupts to help him. The moment the mirror appears, Meitaro relaxes slightly and asks for assistance. Instead, the mirror changes the subject, noticing them arguing about sleeping arrangements. It casually snaps a picture while eating cookies from the table, leaving Meitaro confused. The mirror then advises him that getting used to physical contact would help him sleep beside Bibi more comfortably. Meitaro looks annoyed, as it further explains that this should be considered part of his training. With a dramatic rustle, the mirror reveals a forced flirting prompt box. Meitaro immediately dismisses it as nonsense, Ignoring his reaction, the mirror explains that the game is a head-to-head competition where every card contains some form of physical contact. Hearing this instantly shocks and horrifies Meitaro. The mirror continues explaining the rules. One person must act out the prompt while the other guesses it. If the answer is correct within the time limit, the guesser wins. Otherwise, the person acting out the prompt wins instead. When Bibi raises her hand and innocently asks what physical contact means, the mirror casually lists examples. Meitaro instantly shouts at the mirror for creating such a ridiculous game. Still unfazed, the mirror insists the exercise is necessary for his learning. Irritated, Meitaro demands to know its true motive behind all this. The mirror flashes a cheerful victory sign and openly admits that it simply sounds entertaining. Already expecting such an answer, Meitaro angrily declares that he does not need humiliating methods like this just to get used to physical contact. The mirror smugly tells him to reconsider, reminding him that it requested permission directly from the king and even received approval. When Meitaro angrily asks what favor it requested, the mirror calmly reveals that winning the game would allow him to regain part of his magic powers. Meitaro freezes in shock, while Bibi also turns toward the mirror as it explains that only partial abilities would return, such as healing or transformation magic. Though conflicted, Meitaro remembers that magic is more important to a demon than even the heart itself. The mirror encourages him further, calling it a perfect chance to prove his worth to the king. Still, it reminds him that accepting the challenge is entirely his choice. After thinking it over, Meitaro decides that regaining his magic matters more than his embarrassment, so he reluctantly agrees. The mirror immediately announces the first setup. Bibi will act out the prompts while Meitaro has to guess them. Meitaro tells himself not to be picky, thinking that even recovering a small amount of magic is better than nothing. Meanwhile, the mirror asks Bibi what reward she would like if she wins. However, Meitaro is too distracted by his thoughts to pay attention, until he suddenly becomes flustered when Bibi tightly hugs him and effortlessly lifts him into the air. Shocked, he loudly demands that she put him down immediately, but the mirror hides itself and reminds him that he already agreed to the rules. Meitaro angrily shouts back that he knew this game would be ridiculous from the start. Annoyed, he guesses that the prompt must be being carried, but the magic box declares his answer incorrect. The mirror explains that the answer must match the exact wording written on the card. Left with no choice, Meitaro awkwardly asks Bibi to hug him again so he can guess properly, but the mirror instantly warns him not to receive hints from her. Bibi softly whispers that she will do her best to help him answer correctly, only for the mirror to repeat the same warning to her as well. Watching them seriously, it threatens to end the game if they continue breaking the rules. Meitaro looks completely exhausted by the entire situation, but suddenly becomes alarmed when she completely misunderstands the situation and starts taking the prompt too seriously. Deeply embarrassed, he immediately stops her. Frustrated, he complains about the absurd prompts, while the mirror simply smiles and insists that all the prompts are perfectly normal. Seeing Bibi still trying to undress, he flusteredly yells at her to stop again. After thinking for a moment, Bibi tries a different approach. She gently takes his hand and dramatically removes his gloves while trying to act out the prompt. Embarrassed, he asks what she is doing, and when she explains that this seemed like the best option, he becomes even more confused. As she continues softly stroking his hands, he quickly stops her, thinking that if this alone is already this embarrassing, he cannot imagine how much worse the remaining prompts might become. But things grow even more overwhelming when Bibi, her cheeks bright red, starts removing his other glove in a dramatic way. Completely unable to handle the situation anymore, Meitaro hurriedly stops her and loudly declares that they should switch roles immediately now that the tables have completely turned.
Here I am.